I am Whitney, President and CEO of Intelligent Concrete.
And I'm David. I'm the Principal Engineer for Intelligent Concrete.
And David actually just went out, was it just last week? Or
Last week, yeah.
Last week, went out to the AFWERX convention in Las Vegas.
Yeah, boy, it was very Las Vegas. It was a very fun conference. The Air Force knows how to have a good time.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know, they had lights, they had nice music between each speaker.
Oh, that's
They
good.
fed us lunch, you know,
Sure.
we got to mingle. We had a little mixer in the evening.
Sure.
So, you know, it was...
Quite the little party there, huh?
Yeah, it was good. You know, they probably, I'd say there were over 1,000 people there.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, it was
Wow.
great. It was great. People all over the world, really. I met people from Australia and England, and as well as, you know, many of the Air Force bases here in the United States.
What was the point in going out there? Like what took you out there?
Well, they had a small business research initiative that they were accepting proposals. And so we submitted to that.
Right.
They had what they call the Air Base of the Future.
Right.
So we submitted to that because that's the kinds of things we do. We want to do the concrete of the future.
Right.
We're just about to give that paper about your grandmother's concrete and
Right.
and various things. So that was the main purpose, is to kind of go out, kind of meet with some folks there at the Air Force, kind of get a feel for the land, kind of how the system works,
Sure.
and whatnot. And admittedly, the main focus of the conference was on multi-operational computer systems. And so they talked about
sure.
edge computing, they talked about, you know, robotics and various things.
Those always seem to be very, very hot topics for
Very,
grants and
very-
for funding, you know?
Very hot topics.
Concrete's not, people don't find it quite as exciting as the...
Well, you know, it was interesting though. There were a lot of people there that did find interest
Sure.
in this idea with the, they're looking at smart concrete, smart buildings, base of the future.
Sure.
They're looking at possibly sustainable recycle initiatives.
That's great.
So it didn't take long to find people to talk to that, you know, were interested in what we had to say. So again, that was the main purpose, was to go out, try to meet some people, kind of learn a little bit about how their system works.
Sure.
You know, we love it here. I mean, it's quiet, you know, we get to look at the mountains.
Right, right.
But it's hard to understand how their system works
Sure,
from,
if you're... Right.
from here.
Well, and the nice thing too, what a great opportunity. I mean, for those of you who've gone after any sort of government funding or grants, like, I mean, and there are some agencies that require these like 20 long page things where you say the same thing, you know, three different ways, and that's just the requirement. But how refreshing to be able to go and actually talk to certain reviewers and have that kind of face-to-face and be able to make connections and really get a grasp of what they're looking for with the proposals, with the research, with the funding, all of that.
And the Air Force was really interesting. I mean, as sophisticated and all the brilliant people they have,
Sure.
all the things they do, they stand up on the stage and say, we can't keep up by ourselves.
Wow.
You know, we need small business, we need the
Right.
innovators, we need the entrepreneurial people to work with us to move us forward as quickly as possible. So
That's awesome.
it was really refreshing.
That's very cool.
It really was. And as you've noted, some of the processes are the NSF process, grant process.
And the EPA, I mean, some of them are
some
just
of them are very difficult.
Yeah.
But the SBIR, the small business, I mean, all the system, the government system as a whole, is really oriented towards small business. You
Right.
don't have to have a staff of 100 people to
write one of these grants.
write one of these grants. The one we wrote was the abstract, the technical abstract, limited to a page.
Right.
You know,
Well, and then the whole grant was what, 5 or 6 pages?
that grant was about 5 pages, yes.
Which is so great. Like, I've always been under, you know, get the word across
right.
in as few words as possible, especially when you're writing. Like, who wants to sit there and read 20 pages of a grant?
I think that's right. I think they recognize that too.
Well, because then it's time on their side too. It's wasting your time, especially if you're not getting funded.
Right.
And it's wasting their time to read all these horrible grants or good grants, whichever, but...
And they clearly understand that.
Yeah.
They just want a quick read to get a feel for what
the
might
idea.
be. And in our case, we sent forward literally an idea. And then if they're interested in the idea, we'll send forward something that's more specific.
Sure.
we'll get our phase one, we'll get to investigate a concept, try to proof of concept kind of a level.
Right.
And if we do well with that, we'll be eligible to apply for the next round, which is actual demonstrations, actually
Right.
getting on the ground and whatnot. So, well, I came from the government, you know,
Sure,
I spent a long
sure.
time in the government. So it's really hard for me to criticize the government heavily.
And not criticizing, but it's just, I feel like there's more efficient ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, certain processes are put in place and they're not reevaluated as frequently as they should be to make them more efficient and more effective for all parties involved.
Yeah, but the Air Force, it was a great conference. It was probably one of the most fun conferences I've ever been to.
Oh, that's
They
great.
had a roaming photo robot that went around and would take your picture for you.
Oh, that's great.
You know.
The robots they're coming up with.
You know.
We just got a robot vacuum. We named him Rolex. That was a
Yeah.
joint decision with the kids. But he's great. I mean, he's one of my best friends because he vacuums for me daily.
Sure.
But yeah, it's incredible.
And
The
it was-
technology.
It was festive, you know. They had music and lights,
Sure.
and they had professional hosts to present the speakers.
Cool.
It was great.
That's
It
great.
really was. And again, I think the Air Force is right on point with how they're meeting small business, how they're inviting small business
Sure.
into their opportunities. So it was a nice, rewarding experience.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
You
sharing.
bet.
That was great. I'm sure that'll probably wind up being one of our yearly conferences that we wind up attending now. So,
Well, I hope so.
or
Well,
how often do they do it? Once a year?
Well,
Oh, dear.
they issue SBI orders about every quarter,
Oh, David.
but they don't necessarily have conferences in
Every quarter.
Every quarter.
So we will see. To be
Yeah.
continued.
Yeah. So, okay, that's what I did last week.
Well, thank you so much for joining. Hope you learned something today. Like, subscribe, ding that bell for notifications. Go concrete!
Never build an airfield out of asphalt.
Yes, very nice.